All right, guys, I got the frame back. It took them a little bit longer because of the paint that was originally on this frame. I guess it was pretty strong stuff. Had to sit about a week and a half in the acid tank to be able to strip it all the way down. But got the frame back. Went ahead and test fitted just to make sure that these were going to actually work with this frame. And these are the Go Power Sports front forks, because I was not going to run the original forks to this bike because they had that recall, and I really just don't want to find out if the front forks were going to separate or not. So I upgraded to the Go Power Sports front brakes. This is going to be the tint that I'm using. It's for the Raptor liner. See if I can get it. There we go. And then of course the Raptor liner that's tintable, and then the hardener, and then I got the gun right there. And then I grabbed some of this. It was on sale when I was in Trex, or it was Home Depot. It's carbon gray or charcoal gray. So basically I might do the inside of the fenders with that. But I'm gonna be running 30 series torque converter with the Juggernaut, and then the motor I built for the Fat Moto. It's got the billet rod, flywheel, high flowing head, heavier valve springs. It runs really good, but it's going to be way too much power for that Fat Moto. It's going to destroy it. I like going fast and stuff, but there's a certain limit to certain things before it becomes just dangerous. And I'd rather just put it on this. It'd be more fun. And that's the original motor. I still think I'm going to strip that thing down and see what I can do to that. Maybe make a little bit mild motor for the Fat Moto. That's not so aggressive, because man, that thing, as soon as you give it throttle, it's like it's there. And so I'm gonna put it on this. I did upgrade the rear sprocket. I went from a 50 tooth to a 38 tooth on the rear. So that'll definitely pick up the speed, because this thing only did about 28, 29 mile an hour with that motor with the 50 tooth. And basically, probably the governor was still on however they did it when whoever had this before me. But yeah, so that's gonna make it fairly quick. It's actually, I'm kind of wondering, being fat tire, I might be able to go actually use this thing at the property, because a lot of the property on the other side is very soft, and I'm hoping that's gonna do really good. And then I upgraded this sandblast. I went from having the gun that went into the barrel, or the I didn't like it. This thing cost $35 from Harbor Freight, and it's gravity fed. It's got the gun and everything. I just hung it up through there. This thing works really well, and this is what I've been using now. And then right here I'll put my shock back, run the tube through there, just suck the dust out when you're in here sandblasting, and it actually fairly keeps it from really fogging up in here. And then I got the fenders right here. I'm using acetone to just wipe them up, make sure I try to get as much dust I can get off. I ran out of tack rags, so I'm just using a rag and this stuff. I'm using this tank for right now. I accidentally dropped something on the other tank, and now I have to do a little bit of work to it to fix it, and I just don't have the time right now to mess with it. So for right now, I'm gonna run this tank, which will be fine, and then I'll eventually get the other tank fixed, or I may go to a motorcycle junkyard and see what I can find, and see if I can find something similar to that size of that tank, just to be able to hold more fuel on this thing. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this cleaned up, and we'll get this stuff painted, because this stuff needs to get painted now so it can be dry by tomorrow. And while this is sitting here drying, I can actually go ahead and start getting all this put together, and get this thing running and going, so we can have some fun on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start wiping all this stuff down, and we'll go ahead and shoot this. Now when I go to paint this, the air compressor's in my garage. I don't have anywhere to put it's gonna be loud, so I'll more than likely I'll show painting it, but I'm probably just gonna put some music in the background, because I'm sure you guys don't want to sit there and listen to an air compressor. So alright, let's get started. Alright guys, get this stuff all cleaned up, wiped down. I'm probably just gonna shove a rag down in here. Be fine. Like I said, this tank's just temporary. I don't really care. I just want it to be somewhat similar. And then when you, what I do when I use that Raptor liner, I got a whole entire truck out. I got 2 trucks that are completely painted in Raptor liner. And the first one I did in one, I ended up stripping it and doing it in one entire night. And a year later, it did start having spots where I got to fix and stuff. My other truck, I spent probably a good whole weekend going through the whole entire body on that thing. And sanded, took it down to primer and everything. And that thing it doesn't have anything flaking from it or nothing. I actually got to do some rust repair on it. I got a cap corner that I didn't replace back when I did it because it didn't have rust at that time, and I replaced the other one. Well, now it's got rust, so now I have to go back. But the stuff is really easy too. Like if you got a spot that you need to fix, you just pretty much fix it and then go back and reshoot it, and it blends right in. You never have really any problems with it. But I really like this Raptor stuff. It works really well, especially if you do it right. It holds very well. Side's a little bit bowed out. Let's see if I can squeeze this real quick. There we go. Should be good enough. Wipe the inside of this out real quick and some of these are just stains. I already went through, kind of cleaned these once already. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and just shoot the inside of these with the other paint, and then I'll come back through on the other side and do Raptor, because I don't know if I want that rough texture on the inside of the fenders, because it may try to hold on to mud, being a rough texture paint. So for right now, I'll do this and we'll see how long this lasts for. Flip this again. I just go one more time, just kind of wipe over the top of it, and then I'll start mixing up the other paint. Grab one that's dry, so help it dry a little faster. Alright, let's I'll go ahead and grab the paint. We'll start getting that mixed up. Yeah, with this stuff, it's super easy to. It's not like paint where you gotta do all the measuring cups and everything. This stuff's just pretty much ready to go. Comes out as that white kind of color. What I usually do for tint though, I don't buy these because these are like $8 for one bottle, and it only does one bottle. You can actually go to, if you go down to Napa, one of their paint shops, you can just ask for tint and you can pretty much get any color you want, and then they'll mix it up for you. I can get a whole entire quart for $8 of black paint or whatever I need, or not paint but the tint, and that's how I usually do it, because to me $8 for one of these bottles seems a little much. It just, problem is you start getting into like the blues and the reds and stuff like that, it can get kind of expensive for the tint. All right. Go ahead and mix up the hardener. Now on these, you pretty much, there's a fill line. I don't know if you can see that. There's a fill line right there. You just want to fill it up to that line. Pretty much just like that. And you just pour it in. And I would recommend, if you use this stuff, have a very good ventilated area. This stuff is, once you start spraying it, it's pretty strong. And then you just put the cap on it, and then you just start shaking. If you take the cap off, you can usually see that's gonna be definitely pretty sparkly. That was supposed to be darker. Seems a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty silver. That's the other reason why I don't like ordering them bottles, because a lot of times they'll say that it's supposed to be this color, and then you get it and then it's either way lighter or way darker. And then basically all you have to do is take the cap back off. Just drop this down inside there, screw this on. And then what I do for air is I usually run about 60 psi. The less air pressure you have, the rougher it's going to be, and the more air pressure you have, the smoother it's going to be. And I found about 60 psi seems to be really good, where it's still rough but it's not extremely rough. Alright, well, I'll go ahead and get the air compressor set up, and then we'll go ahead and start painting this. Okay, so we got that all painted, so I'm gonna go ahead now. I'm gonna start putting the forks together, but I did notice something. There's supposed to be a bolt here that clamps the forks. They did not send them 2 bolts. So I'm gonna have to figure out what thread that is, and I'm gonna have to run out Tractor Supply and get 2 new bolts. But for now, I can still get the forks on. I want to get the front wheel on so that way I can get the weight transferred this way before I start doing the rear end. The good thing is they seem to be pretty simple to get on there. Just would have been nice to have these 2 bolts. And I did go with the the original one, just some pop sheet metal that they use for the top. So I did get theirs. That's a little bit thicker steel. Gonna be a little bit stronger. And I have noticed that they don't quite line up the best, but I might actually have to make this hole a little bit bigger. Yeah, that doesn't line up. I'll show you. If you can see down in there, it's not an exact lineup. So I might have to drill this out. That kind of sucks. Pretty sure all this is still loose. I don't see why that would make a difference, but let's go ahead and try to loosen that bolt up real quick. Or nut, I should say, not bolt. I might be able to. Don't usually like doing that, but alright, it went in. It's not that I had to kind of pull it over a little bit, we'll force it over a little bit, but I usually like doing that, but it was, if I was able to do it by hand, should be fine. I think having this nut a little bit loose, I don't know why that would make too much of a difference, unless it didn't seem like there seemed to be a snug fit that going on there, so. But doesn't matter, it's on. So go ahead and tighten them 2 down. Like I said, I'll have to get the find a bolt that fits that or something to get the what size that is, and I'll go pick up 2 bolts for that. But once I tighten this down, it's not going to go anywhere. Move this out of the way. And I will go back through once this thing's done. I'll go through and double check these forks. Like I said, I just want to get the front wheel on for now. That way I can get this sitting on jack stands or something to get that up off the top of the spool, so I got room to put the engine bolts in. Plus you can't really get them super tight yet because the whole thing's trying to turn because this isn't clamped. Alright, let's get this front wheel on. I'm gonna blow the spacer off. Oh, we're gonna have to slide this way. See if it'll stay right there. Does that give me enough room? Not yet. That should give me enough room. I'm not used to doing this whole camera thing. Used to just getting the stuff done. It does take a lot longer when you're doing it by camera, but it's fun. Okay, I'm not gonna need them spacers that I originally needed with the other forks. Come on, slip in there. There we go. So I guess these little spacers that you originally needed, with these forks, you don't need them. Alright, good enough. There, now I got some weight on the front end. Now we'll get this thing. We'll get this thing up on some jack stand, or yeah, I'll probably use jack stands, and get it up in the air a little bit. That way you can work underneath it. We'll start getting the engine mocked up because I got to figure out what I have to do to make this 30 series work, because I'm not sure. I may have to get rid of this. I should have probably did this stuff before I had it powder coated, but at the time I didn't have time. The guy had time to powder coat it, so it's not that big of a deal. So we'll go ahead and grab some jack stands and see if we can get lifted up with that. If I can find both of them. Alright, give me a second. I gotta find the other one. I just used them. You think you have everything before you start, and then you realize there's always that one thing. Just be a minute.
2,000 years later.
Alright, I found two jack stands. So this is what I ended up coming up with. It actually works pretty well. is just to use the foot pegs. The 2 bars over there, and that'll give me all the room in the world to get the bottom bolts in for the motor. I'll go ahead and go grab the engine. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using this billet engine spacer. Which means I'm going to have to drill some new holes. I guess what we'll do is we'll try it without it. We'll see if we can get it on there. Worst comes to worst, we put that on, drill some new holes, and be good. This was just a temporary throttle I put on it when I was test running it. Looks like the exhaust is gonna fit. I was hoping that would fit. Maybe it won't actually. I'm gonna have to heat this up and bend it outwards. It's gonna be right in the fender. So for right now, we'll just put the 2 front bolts in, and then we'll see if we can get the torque converter on. I just want to make sure. Sometimes torque converter runs into the frame before it actually clears. Alright, let's see if we can get the torque converter on. Yeah, it looks like I'm better off probably getting rid of that. Alright, got the engine all mounted finally. I ended up just drilling new holes, mounting the billet plate to the mini bike, and then just used new bolts coming up straight through, and it allowed me to move the engine where it needed to be. So now I got the juggernaut on, brand new belt, got the chain on. For right now, I'm gonna leave about that much slack. I don't really like to have a super tight chain, so we'll run it like that for now. Back wheel is done. The only thing I need to do now is I need to put the bar on for the rear brake. Get that done, get the rear brake hooked back up. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the bars on. But yeah, it's coming together now. To me, once this part's done, then everything else is just simple. It's just getting put the bars back on. And then like tomorrow, the tank and the fenders and all that will be dry, so I can get that on. I got fuel line coming, I ordered for it. And then I just found some bolts with some nylon locking nuts to go in there. So that all works now. I gotta tighten the bolt up on the front wheel. And then kickstand, and then I might I don't like the foot pegs this thing came with, and I got that old pit bike frame. I'm gonna see if I can use the foot pegs off that for it, and then the exhaust I'm gonna have to bend this because it's gonna slam right into the fender, and I need it to at least, I want it to come out to about here, so it's sticking straight out. But I'll just have to heat this up, and then I'll just give it a little, for how much I need to bend it. It should bend just fine. So yeah, it's coming together, and I'm gonna go ahead now and get the bars done. And then once I get the bars on, then I can run the brake cable down. Get the brake cable ran down here and get the rear brake set up. And then pretty much run. I just need to do throttle and kickstand. So we should have this done here soon. Alright, I'll get started getting that stuff going. Alright guys, it's all finished now. I finally got it out this morning. Had to wait on the parts for the carburetor. I ordered a new carburetor and air breather for the valve cover, and then the manifold. I ended up painting the cover, and then I had some Go Power Sport stickers. Ended up putting that on. I kind of like the gas tank the way it is. I thought I wouldn't like that small of a tank, but it actually looks kind of nice. Got the side cover for the 30 series on there. The headlight's a dummy headlight. It doesn't do anything because I don't have a power source, so I think I'm going to run a drill battery adapter to get a power source. And then the tack mounted there, and then I end up drilling 2 holes, tapped them for 8mm bolts. Put the kill switch right there. So far, just breaking in the motor. I don't want to run it too hard. I got up to 46 miles an hour, about 5,000 RPM, so I think it's going to be doing pretty good. I don't plan on really revving the crap out of this motor. I just wanted a motor that can handle it, but I don't really think I'm going to, because I think I'd have to put the 50-tooth on to really get this thing to rev out. But yeah, it's all finished, and the next video I will be taking it out and going on a little cruise with it.